So today I've got this off the internet. It was a free porch pickup, and I just happened to be 2 minutes away from the house. I decided to give it a try, see if anyone made it before I did, and I was the first one. It's Husqavarna 125B. It's a pretty decent, if you would focus on it, pretty decent little blower. The problem is that the person said it was very hard to start, and when I pulled on it, I think I can understand why it would be hard to start. So, granted, this is not the all rule, it's just like a general rule of thumb. Engines that don't have a compression release, you'll have to pull against all the compression. Well, a 2-cycle, at least no 2-cycle I know of, at least not on a leaf blower, it will not have one. So if you're able to pick it up, or at least dislodge it, it probably has enough compression. Can you see this? I mean, it's barely anything. It has fuel. Let's just give it a couple tugs. I can't see what that says. Okay, so it's just one of those. You're probably shaky cam, huh? Let's put you over here. So full throttle, or choke, was just half apparently, and no choke. No choke. Oh, that is choke. Let's try no choke. Ow. Yeah, it's not looking too promising. Let's look at the plug. The reason why I want to look at the plug is I want to throw some fuel down the center of it, and also I want to see if it's even on tight. I've taken apart this engine, this type of engine before on this blower, and I want to say that it only has one compression ring. What ends up happening, this one, oh my god, it's not even dirty. Can you see that? Look at that. It's not even dirty. Anyway, so it only has one compression ring. So if that one gets stuck, which I suppose is a possibility, because you put too much oil on, it just kind of builds up and gets no longer is able to make good contact with the cylinder wall, it will have a low compression. In fact, let's just look at this gas before we even start. Maybe they put straight fuel in it. Oh boy, I think I might know why this does that. Let's just have it. No. No. We'll see that at a good angle. No choke. Yep. I just saw. I don't know if the camera's going to see the color very well. Let me see if I can find something to pour that out in. Usually I cut things. Does that look like mixed fuel? No. I think someone ran straight through on this. Well, it's getting late. I'm not going to work on this anymore tonight. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this tomorrow. You're blinking, so I will see everyone later. Well, for you, it'll be just momentarily. Okay, so been a few days. Gonna get back to this, and naturally I forgot to record a couple things, but I took off the exhaust. It looks practically brand new. Unfortunately, to do that you have to take off basically everything, but a good reason why I took off the exhaust was, here, let me show you, so I can dig you in there real quick. It's a perfect way of kind of looking at this cylinder the way it is, because usually when something scores because of no oil, it's because it's going out through the exhaust. It gets hotter there, it's going to score faster. That's usually the point it's going to fail. So taking off the muffler is a pretty good idea. Let's just double check. And we have 25. That's not good. So that piston at the very least is junk. There we go. So, let's take off the rest of the plastics. See if we can see what the head looks like. Okay, very good. Looks like we have. That was made of a different material. There we go. I'm going to take this on all the plastic. You're probably going to have to take off the fan. Which means all these screws too. Sad part is, this thing looks brand new. You know the person that didn't use it too much, didn't pay attention to the instructions, put normal gas in there yet for his lawnmower. And now, let's hear, what size do we have here? It is a 7/16, half, winner. Handle fell off, oh well. We don't want to put the string in there. This thing's really on there. Wow. Damn. Excuse me. Yeah, got it. Man. Okay, oh look. 3 different types. Looks like it's a T25. I think we got somewhere. Let's take off the carburetor. Wow. Factory strength, I tell you. It's really surprising I didn't get to see a lot of that, did you? Look at the filter. Also looks brand new. I'm telling you, this thing has probably the only tank of gas it's ever had in there right now. Let's put the choke on. I guess it doesn't matter when you're taking it off anyway, but or the head off. Let's see. It's 5/16 or 8 millimeters. That looks pretty much like 8 millimeters to me. Probably gonna jinx myself on this one, knock on wood, but I want to say I've worked on a handful, this exact one, every single time. It's never been salvageable every single time. Well, one time was close. It was just cost a lot more than it's rightfully needed. There's one that came from a small engine shop, so you know that's not good, because if they got rid of it, they probably couldn't fix it, or it just wasn't cost effective. So they took parts off of it. The engine was fine, just needed a new carburetor. I better pick this up before I lose it. But for whatever reason, they still just threw it away. Okay, so looks like we have 4. Let's see what I can see in here. Just what I thought. This side looks pretty good. I'm assuming this will come off, maybe with a make the take off the flywheel. Yeah, we'll have to take off the flywheel. Okay. Because the problem, you can't get the bolts in there. Let's just see if this works. Nope. Let's see here. Where did my piston stop go? Let me look for something. So this is a piston stop. It's technically used for when you're removing a clutch, but the flywheel is just on the other side, so it's more or less a clutch. Thing is, I think these are reverse threads. To take it off, we are gonna have to go this way. No, that one's right. Maybe it's the others. No, maybe it is the clutch that's reverse. There we are. I didn't think so. This can be a little tricky. I need a hammer. Pick to take this out. Put this back on a little bit. There we go. And something to pry up on. Maybe we'll use the pliers. It's really not like a good area to pry up on it from. Maybe a wrench. Something that's a little bigger. too big. Stupid magnet. They do not want you to take this off. There's not really even a place for a port either. Unless maybe if we take off the coil, which would probably be a good idea to do that anyway. I like to leave the screws for the coil with the coil. Well, isn't that interesting? This is for a chainsaw. This came off of the blower. Interesting. I think that came off of a 445. Also Husqavarna, which makes sense why it would be the same. It's still too big. I know. What about a ball peen hammer? Yeah, okay. And there was one more underneath the flywheel anyway, so we had to take it off no matter what. So, perfect. What are these? Of course. Can't you just sit with one? All this fuss just to get here. But this is the show. Main event. A moment of truth. Do I have to take this off anyway? Yes. Yes, I do. Okay. Moment of truth delayed. Why? What's the purpose of these? It's like the seals are okay. expect them not to be, though. Oh yeah, the piston stopped. If these ever went bad, you would pretty much have to do this anyway because, oh my god. Look at that. It's definitely a no compression issue right there. That's the exhaust. Intake doesn't look too bad though. Crank seems fine. This is the one that makes it or breaks it. Let's see, this is the exhaust. Oddly enough, it feels pretty good. When do fuel pliers not become useful? I'm telling you, fuel pliers. I think that's salvageable. I don't see hardly any scoring. Feel any scoring? That's intake, so that's good. Top and the bottom both feel fine. I don't see any debris, which is good because this is a type you can't take a hone to, at least not very well. Okay, well, I think I'm going to buy a new piston because I think that will be the cure-all for our problems. Let me just double check and see if I have one. Unfortunately, that's a big NA. I have two, but they're not the same. So I'm going to get one ordered, and then we'll put this back together. Okay, so it's a few days later, and we got a piston. What did I drop? Oh, clip. Okay. They appear to be the same. Oddly enough, this one has a Husqavarna logo on it. Oh. Both the seals came out with it. Okay. Well, let's find out. I think that's good. Okay, so first things first, let's take this apart. Take the little pin out. These can be a little rough, especially on seized engines. It's okay, we have new ones. So now, technically, let's take it out. Did they give me... Okay, yeah, they gave me the ring too, and not both clips, which don't want to lose these. Let's put those right there. That's usually not a sign of a healthy engine. This should just slide right out. Let me find something to press it out with. So after a whole lot of persuasion, I was able to get the pin out that far, and then just slid out. So now I'm going to use our assembly oil. So for this, you can use assembly lube. You can use pretty much any automotive type of oil. I'm going to be using, you guessed it, Marvel. Okay. Just make sure this goes in well. Looks like it does. There's a set of bearings in there. I want to get that nice and lubricated. Okay, so on this one, the arrows paint going towards the exhaust. And usually, this pin is on the exhaust side too. So I just have to figure out what side of this is the exhaust. So the fan, wait a minute. It's gonna go like this. Now, it's gonna go like this. But then the intake is on this side. Oh, yes, of course. I'm thinking the air is going on the... Okay. The orientation the blower was getting me for a second there. So, if that means... Yeah, like this. Pin towards the exhaust. Okay. Very good. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in one of these little pins first. It doesn't really matter what side. It's just a lot easier to do it now than it is later. Oddly enough, I find these small ones to be a lot harder than the bigger ones. The big ones have a little girth to them, so you can easily kind of grab them. These small ones, I have a horrible time with. I do not know why. Yeah, it's the same no matter what, so. You don't want to shoot them across the room either. That's another hazard. I'm gonna mess with this. Okay, finally. I put it on this side so I could do this. I'm telling you, these small little clips are just not my forte. Oh, let's put a little oil. I have to refill with her today. For this, you just want to go through the bearing. There we go. And then I'll just push it in a little bit. Perfect. Now, we can do the other side. Except this one, hopefully, won't be such a pain. There we go. Perfect. Piston is good to go. It's nice and fluid. When I put everything together, I'm going to oil the whole bottom end assembly. Okay, now, usually, as you can see on this one, the pin is there, and same thing with this. But that pin, you can tell, maybe, hopefully, the ring actually has like a guide in there for it. So when it's compressed, you want the longer ends to be on the bottom of the pin. Now this, you have to be very careful with. They can cut you, they can break. You can use a ring compressor, but I just find it not to be very useful on such small items. Okay, next, we're going to oil the cylinder up, nice and good. Don't really have to worry too much about the transfer ports because they're not going to see any type of real action. So, should be like this. Exhaust goes right there. Okay, our double check worked. Sometimes these have a little ridge on them to make it easier to put the pin in. Well, not the pin, but the ring. Thinking this one does not, though. This is sometimes the real icky part. This is when a buddy would be nice to have, or third hand. There we go. Still will check I have it in right. H. The pin should be, yeah, there we go. Really good. So now I have to make sure that the bearing and the seals fit good, which they do. You see, it has like a little guide there. So now we need the bottom end. I really, really don't like these. These, to me, just seem like they would fail. Let's wash it up a little bit though. I know my hands look dirty, but I was working with 2-cycle fuel and I got actually a little diesel on them today too, so they're just pretty nasty today. And these little marks are actually ridges on there. I would prefer to see a gasket, like a paper gasket, or even RTV. But you know what? We're going to do it the right way. So now we have to figure out which way is which. Some type of metal shavings. Okay, I don't remember which way this is going to go. If it's going to go like this or like this. Oh wait, perfect. There's a witness mark. See the little clean area right there? Look at this. Same mark. There we go. I guess it's, would it be considered a witness mark? I don't know. Okay, so now that that's done and done, I'm going to get the screws out, I'll put in a little bucket, and then we'll put it together. In fact, I think I might save this one for tomorrow, but for you, it'll be a moment. So it's the next day or two. It's early in the morning. Everyone is sleeping. And I don't feel like just watching YouTube. So let's do some work. Remembering where all these bolts went. Probably the hardest part. I'm also having a horrendous allergy day, so if I sound congested, that's why. Okay, so it still is weird to me, just this piston. They're usually just they're not just plain, I guess that's my best description of it. It's just a very plain piston. It's like the vanilla ice cream of pistons. Okay. There's probably a torque spec on this, but this is the torque spec I'm going to go with today. Okay, so now we have our seals, we have theoretically our completed engine. Now we just need to put this completed engine to work. Let's do a little compression test. Oh yeah, that already has a lot more. Oh yeah. Very nice. Okay, so
order this is gonna go in. Let's see if we can remember. No. Ooh, I think that might be some magic. Or not. Let me do some fiddling. Okay. I had the wrong side. That makes a lot more sense now, doesn't it? So, let's put this back on. I'm starting to wonder if these are even supposed to go in there. Doesn't seem like it, does it? But then, which ones do? So these, I do have a couple of those. And their threads are basically the same. But then there's only 3 of those. So, This is the problem when you take something apart and it's like days after. Should probably just watch the video on it. There we go. That seems a lot more legit, doesn't it? Perfect. Now, I think we're pretty much ready for the flywheel. So with these, the key is actually keyed into the flywheel. So let's make it easier on ourselves. Let's just put this so the slot is facing directly up. And then we'll just take it. There's the key. Coincidentally, there's a mark there for it. And then once you hear it click into place, you're good. Man, my allergies today are just tore up. What size was that? Let me do some searching. Okay. Yet again, probably a torque spec, but that's a torque spec I'm going with. Let's do this again. Oh yeah. Much better. Now we can probably do the coil. See, this is an instruction booklet that I got from, I believe, my shop vac. And it has some pretty thick paper. I kind of fold it to get to approximately 10 thousandths of an inch, or just 10 thousandths. So that's my gap that I like to use. A business card is good. An actual feeler gauge is probably the way to go. Let's sink these down a little bit more. for whatever reason, almost every single time, the coil has a very particular thread on the screws that holds it in place. Not really sure why. It's never the same as anything around it. Reset. Next, what do we have here? I think we are going to be probably the plastics will be a good idea to start next. Let me get all that stuff out and we'll put it on. Okay, so this is sometimes a real pain to get it perfectly lined up. Let's see how well this goes. Oh, there we go. Now, I think we found the purpose of these. Anyone who's been watching my other videos will have seen that I planted a new yard. And today, it's going to be a nice day. It's going to be one of the few nice days I think I'm going to have for a while. So I'm going to mow it for the first time. And in hopes that I will only have to mow it maybe a few more times this year. This hopefully is going to be not really a very useful tool, but it will be used anyway for some general leaf pickup and everything before and after I'm done. So I'm gonna get this done today. Next we have there was a weird little washer. Here we are. Well, it goes on one way. This as well. Put the big washer and then a small washer in. Where's the nut? Let me look for the nut that holds it in place. So it's literally about a week later. Why is it a week later, you're asking? That's a good question. I also burned myself, so if you see this hideous thing, just know that's why. Apparently, I went to go find this nut, and it was stripped. Couldn't put it on. Can't necessarily keep the fan on there. That's stripped. So, had to go to the hardware store. It's a reverse thread, naturally. So, that was hard to find. But because it was
stripped, I couldn't really test it out. So I got my little thread gauges out that are usually used for tapping, and I couldn't find what it was. It's the weirdest thing. I couldn't find one that was there either in metric or standard. It was just weird. I don't even know. So I buy a variety of them. Some are metric, some are standard, some are 5/16, and it was like a bag full. None of them fit. Went on the internet, got one from eReplacementParts.com. It's usually a pretty good place to find it. And they shipped it UPS. Now, I don't exactly remember where it shipped from. I feel like it was said somewhere about Utah. But it then went from Utah or California, one of the two, like I said, I can't remember, to Texas, to Maryland, to North Carolina, to Idaho, to California again. It's literally been in about 8 states. That little nut. I don't understand UPS logic at all. I just don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. At all. I just don't. I will never understand, probably. That happened more often than not. Okay. But that's my rant for the day. That's on there. I think we should be good to go for putting this back on. And then we're going to rebuild the carb just because we might as well. The lines are, discolored at the very minimum. I might have another one of these primer bulbs too. It actually looks really good though. I might not. But it does have straight feel in there anyway, so I want to take that out. Then we need to mount the kill or switch. Put that on the coil. Put this side cover back on. Put the pull cord back on. I think at that point should be almost ready to test this bad boy out. At one point, that little nut was less than a 30-minute drive from my house. I had a half a mind of driving down there and just picking it up, because I know if you go down there with like your tracking number and general information about it, they'll just give it to you. But I didn't think that it was then going to go to a completely different state instead of on a truck to my house. Because that today, for reference, Saturday. And the day I found it, less than, that 30-minute drive, was on Thursday, and it came this morning. It came this morning. Which is another thing. I didn't think UPS delivered on Saturdays, but whatever. I'm happy they did. So I'm just gonna hope that noise in the background isn't too loud. Because it's Saturday, apparently today has to be laundry day too. So, and unfortunately the laundry machine's in the garage. I'm gonna take this off. And this off. maybe over at the carb station. Usually I would just do this like after work on a weekday when I'm alone, but fortunately this already has a place to be, and it should have been there a few days ago, so kind of under the wire. I have zero expectation of maybe having to do a lot to this carb, because I don't think it has any problems with running, except for the fact that the person put the wrong gas in it. But you never know. Maybe it's sitting in the dude's garage for a year. Definitely doesn't look like a year. So I get so used to working with old stuff, when stuff just pops off, it's weird to me. Like, what happened? Why is this so easy? I was working on a X mark. I recorded it, but I didn't record this part because just balancing and sharpening blades, I mean, that's not going to be too fun. I mean, the video itself is already pretty long, but I let it run. As soon as I say that, that's hard to take off. I let it run for a short amount of time, and I went to go tip it over from the front. Got my, like a jack that you would use for a riding lawnmower underneath the front, just to kind of help take it off. Got that done, put it back on, and I noticed there was something underneath the exhaust. Went to go put my hand down there. You know what? I don't think I'm going to worry about this. And accidentally touched the pipe, because usually they are not there. It's not too much of an excuse, but yeah, that burn definitely did not feel good. Well, I guess I don't really know of a burn that usually does feel good. So these, let's get this thing screws out. This is a splined so the way I like to do this, I like to have the writing, if possible. This one is on the top. That way I know in general how many turns it is. So that's at least about one, a little over one. That's two. About a little over 2 1/4. And when you do this, you have to look at the needle itself. Sometimes they're different. Sometimes the low is a lot more fine. That's one. A little under 2. And if you put them in the wrong way, it's just gonna run like crap. It could flood, it could starve. Nothing good happens. And sometimes they just have minute differences. Sometimes they're different thicknesses. Yeah, you see? Same length. But, oh, excuse me, there are different lengths. So the short one goes towards the choke side. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the cleaner, be right back. Okay, so yet again, I hope that noise in the background isn't super distracting, but it's out. I got it done. So let's put this back together. I put the fuel lines in, and it's one of those that has an exterior primer bulb, obviously when we saw it, but those, you have to run the lines a little bit differently than I would say you would assume. Oh, there it is. I think. Yeah, all those are different. When you put those lines in, you don't push fuel to it, you pull fuel out of it. I'll show you in a minute, but like there's the inlet and then there's the outlet. This should be the in, this should be the out, because this is constantly flowing fuel. Just take a look at this real quick here. Yeah, that's perfect. Like I said, I don't really think this was used all that much. When it was, probably its last. That would be my assumption. One and done. Or maybe, I didn't really look and see how old this is, but I feel like I still see them being sold. Granted, I guess I'm not necessarily always looking for them new. New to someone who fixes them. It's not very useful. Yesterday I stumbled across a video that I'll be making here soon. I was mowing my backyard and my self-propel and my rear wheels stopped. I thought originally it was, what's going on here? I was just like digging trenches because it just seemed like it was hard to push, and it was, maybe the dirt was too soft, or I don't know. So that was my original assumption, but then I looked at it a little bit later and I noticed that they just weren't turning at all. That's in general not a good sign. To be honest, it's been a couple minutes and I can't quite remember which one is which, so we're just gonna sink them down and see if it matches. If anything, I'll look at the video after. Because the ends were the same, so that's good. Yeah, they're the same height. No. So that's good. Anyway, so this one was 2 out, or a little under 2. So let's do 1, 2, and just a little more. It's better to be a little extra than a little less. This is about, this is 2.5. Okay, I'm gonna put this on the machine and be right back. So this is what I mean. There's the in and the out, the pump. The top one and this one, for instance, is the in. It says it usually. If not, then just put your finger on it, and if you feel suction, then that's obviously in. But in from this one is the out on the carburetor, and out is going to the tank. So if you're running into issues and you're having a primer bulb where in is coming from the tank and out going to the carb,
That's gonna run for maybe 10 seconds and stop. So, put the carb on. It's been so long since I've even done anything on this that I forgot how this whole thing works out, so let's find out together. Like that, I'm assuming. Or this. This closer. Goes over here. Then this is held down. Vroom, vroom. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let's worry about this now. Assuming it goes right there. But I need to probably re-gap it because I need to put that behind this. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Be right back. Okay, that's all gapped. It's done. Okay. Next, we have. Let's see here. Let's put this back on. Maybe the side should go on next. What do you think? Yeah. I think that'd be a fairly good idea. Some of these sides, or these blowers are, oh man, they're something else when it comes down to taking them apart, especially when it gets down to like the backpack blowers. This one's not too bad. It does have a few extra pieces though, it seems like. You know what, I remember correctly too now I'm thinking about it. I think the exhaust should go on now because I have to clip in that exhaust cover. And those are, let's see. Mangle our way in there. Exhaust shields are never easy to get around. Okay, I think we're pretty good right there. Maybe not. Yes, you're not supposed to ever start anything with the impact rail, but considering that if you just do it intelligently, you can avoid a lot of mistakes as well. I kind of go by that philosophy, except when it comes down to like spark plugs. I don't pretty much ever start a spark plug with a drill. That is just asking for problems. Especially in the Honda. See, I knew it. So this is our problem right here. There we go. Okay. Even the spark arrestor looks brand new. I mean, I guess it should be expected. It practically probably is. I watched a video not that long ago. This one person is talking about this severe performance gain that you get when deleting that. And I don't know what type of equipment he uses, but I can honestly say I don't really notice any difference. Maybe a little. I mean, yes, it can help with future potential problems. There's no doubt about that. But performance gains? I don't know about that one. So, let's put the car back on. Oh, there we are, another bolt. Oh no. I have not done that quite yet. Where's the return? Ah, it's down there. I have to take this off. Let me put it back on. See what happens when I say that it was an easy one. Something like this happens. Okay, well, we need to route this. You know, it might be easier to do this. Just take it off. It's pretty much on there too. Let's do it this way. It's an interesting location to put this. Okay, so now that's on. This can be this is just a tangled mess going on right here. There we go. Who thought of this system? I knew I should have said something. I think this line is too short. This one, maybe I could just pull it out a little bit. I usually give myself an inch or two. And that's the return line. So, I want to say it's not very important to be super deep in there, but as long as it doesn't come out, it should be fine. Let me mess with this real quick. Okay, I don't really like it because this is always just kind of there, but it's not really hitting anything. But everything's connected. So I'm not going to bore you putting the rest on. You already saw that because I already did it. So I will put this back on and we'll test it out. Okay, it's back together. Fuel's in it. Wipe out some dust real quick here. And let's prime it. It seems kind of squishy, but it's on there tight. Primed.
let's say, full choke. I did put a little bit of oil down the cylinder hole when I first discovered the bolt problem, or the nut problem, so, I don't know, like I said, a week, however, maybe 6 days, 8 days, whatever it was. So it might be a little smoky, and it might foul. I didn't put a lot, but it is a new engine, so, or a new piston, so I want to keep it lubricated as much as possible. But there's definitely a lot more compression already. That's better. Well, I think the high is almost perfect. The low I think is a little high or a little rich, so I think I will lower that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm not going to be able to hear this, but I'm going to take the screwdriver, find the low screw, which should be the closest one to the engine. I'm going to run it in to make it leaner while at idle, and then I'm going to rev up the engine again, and I'm going to tweak the high. I'm going to let it run so it's like blaring fast, and keep riching it until I start to hear it crack a little bit. You want to have this rich, not lean. You don't want to have full 100% speed, because that's just going to burn it up even faster. You want to run it a little rich, and where it's just not going to burn itself out. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's get it started. Pretty happy with that. So if you notice, went from low, the leaner it got, the smoother it got, and then once I got to a pretty good point, you don't want to have it so tuned in to only idle that when you give it some throttle it kind of dies. You're going to hear like a dead spot. You'll hear a nice low rumble from the idle, and then as soon as you give it gas it goes low and then starts to pick up. That means your low is too lean, so you need to richen it up a little bit. That way it has extra fuel to do a nice smooth incline into the RPMs. And then once I got there, the high screw, and the high screw will affect the low a very small amount. You probably have to do a final bit of tweaking, but once you get a super high speed, then I just lowered it out, started to crack just a little bit, just a little. Something to also consider if you're doing something that you're going to use in a certain time of year. For instance, a leaf blower. You can use a leaf blower for lots of times of the year, but if you only use it during fall time for leaves and you don't use it to blow grass clippings in the summertime, probably should tune it in the fall time. I don't want to say temperature plays a huge role, but you will notice a little bit of a difference, and it's going to be a tad harder to start if it's tuned at the wrong time. That's why I like having these, because I will tune mine once or twice a year, even when I know it's running fine, but it's not running for this time of year. That could just be my OCD talking though. But after I did the high, I went back to the low because the low was still a tad on the rich side. Leaned it up maybe like a 1/16 of a turn. And there it is. Let's give it a yank and see what happens again. Started pretty easy. Yeah, so this is the end of that one. If you like what you see, keep on watching. Throw a thumbs up if you liked it. That helps me a lot. I will keep posting. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, I did something wrong, you think I should do something else, or you didn't quite see something and you want to go over a little more, let me know that as well. I will catch everyone later. Definitely subscribe. Have a good rest of your night.